Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be unpacking an absolute classic tale today, The Farmer and the Parrot. Now, on the surface, it might seem like just a simple little fable, but as we go through this story, you're going to see it actually holds some surprisingly practical lessons. We're talking about hard work, the ripple effects of compassion, and exactly how we're rewarded when we, look outside of ourselves. I absolutely love breaking down stories like this because the structure is just so clear, and the takeaways, they're immediately applicable to our daily lives.
Okay, let's dive into this. Can one small act of goodness change your entire life? I mean, that is a massive question, right? We so often think that to change our trajectory, we need to make these monumental shifts. Getting a brand new career, doing a complete overhaul of our daily habits, or even packing up and moving to a new city. But the source text we're examining today completely challenges that assumption. It asks us to consider the true power of a single, seemingly isolated kind action. So hold on to that thought as we journey through this narrative and see how it all unfolds.
Section 1. The Farmer's Hard Work. A Predictable Routine.
So, our story centers on a man named Ali, who is defined fundamentally by just one main trait. He is a hard-working farmer. The text tells us that Ali wakes up early every single morning. He heads out to his fields and diligently cares for his crops. There's this real rhythm to his life, a predictable, kind of solitary routine of labor and agriculture. He's incredibly dedicated, he's focused, but his world is, relatively small. It's really just him, the earth, and that daily grind. Now, this baseline of hard work is absolutely crucial because it shows us that Ollie's already doing the right things for his own survival, but he just hasn't yet experienced the magic of connection.
Section 2. Compassion and Friendship. An Unexpected Bond. Let's break down Ollie's compassion in action. It wasn't just some fleeting feeling either. It was a literal multi-step action plan. Step 1. He saw an injured parrot right there in his field. He didn't ignore it, and he definitely didn't view it as a pest. He felt genuine pity for the little guy. Step 2. He gently took the bird home and gave it water. And then Step 3. He carefully bandaged its wounds. He actively nursed it back to health over the course of several days. Think about that. He sacrificed his own time, his energy, and his resources. Things a hardworking farmer really doesn't have an abundance of, right? All to help a completely helpless creature.
The result of all that dedicated care is actually fascinating. The text explicitly points out that the parrot was very smart. Once healed, this highly intelligent bird didn't just, fly away and disappear back into the wild. Instead, it started accompanying Ollie to the fields every single day. It would sit right up in a tree, chirping cheerfully while Ollie worked down below. Just think about how that completely transforms his environment. His previously quiet, solitary labor is now accompanied by a cheerful little companion. The whole dynamic has shifted from a man totally alone with his crops to a man sharing his environment with a real friend.
Which brings us to Section 3, Protecting the Harvest, a Sudden Threat.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this rapid chain reaction of events. Boom! A flock of hungry sparrows descends and begins eating Ollie's precious crops, the very crops he poured literally all that early morning hard work into. But wait, Ollie isn't alone anymore. The vigilant parrot spots the threat from up in the tree. It immediately makes these incredibly loud noises. This alerts the farmer, who comes running just in the nick of time, and ultimately, the harvest is saved. His hard work would have been completely destroyed if not for the alarm raised by the bird. His investment of compassion directly protected his investment of labor. How cool is that?
Let's just contrast where we started with where we ended up. We began with a lonely farmer, working hard, yes, for sure, but isolated and highly vulnerable to unseen threats. But now we see a completely new reality. A farmer, a true friend, and an excellent harvest. Ali and the parrot became great friends. The text specifically notes that they shared grain and water, and when the time came, they celebrated a highly successful harvest together. The entire ecosystem of his life expanded. His single act of kindness didn't just save a bird. It built an alliance that completely secured his livelihood and brought real joy to his days.
So the crucial point is Section 4, the important lesson, the fruit of goodness.
The source text leaves us with this explicit, totally beautiful moral. Whoever does good to others surely gets the fruit of goodness. This right here is the ultimate takeaway of our explainer. It really presents the story as a timeless equation. Diligence alone is great, obviously, but diligence plus compassion, that equals guaranteed, amplified success. Now, the fruit of goodness isn't always immediate, and it might not come in the exact form you'd expect. Like a bird suddenly acting as an agricultural security system, but the universe does balance the scales.
The good you put out into the world creates this awesome network of positivity that eventually loops right back around to protect and uplift you.
Which brings us to the ultimate challenge I want to leave you with. Who will you do good for today? Because you don't actually need a farm to apply this powerful lesson. Your field could be your workplace, your home, your community, or even just your daily commute. Keep an eye out for that figurative injured parrot. Maybe it's a colleague who's completely overwhelmed, a neighbor who needs a quick favor, or just a friend who really needs someone to listen. Remember the hardworking farmer, remember the loyal parrot, and remember that your smallest act of kindness might just be the very thing that saves your own harvest down the line. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Get out there and plant some goodness today.